Hi, I'm Tane.
And I'm Aid, and this is Altar Call, a Married at First Sight podcast.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another off-season episode. Hi, Aid. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am good. I'm good. On this episode, we are just going to be talking about the headlines, but the pop culture edition. Just all the things that have been catching our eye and our thoughts on them. And it should be fun because a lot is happening in the world.
Pop culture is a very weird place because it's like, this is news, but this is like, is it? I don't know. I don't want to say it's not news, but it is harder to contextualize.
That's why I called it headlines. They're just headlines, and then make of it what you will. But I don't know if it's news or if it isn't. But it's just like we're getting like the weirdest headlines now. Someone who says something like, "Oh, why I use this soap only at night. Oh, why I don't eat." And you're just like, "Do we care?" But apparently we do. That's why they keep putting it out there. So
I do
what?
Twitter, so I feel a little bit like out of the loop, but also I'm still on Instagram and Reddit, so I think I'm in the loop.
I don't know. We're all over everywhere. As long as you're in one of them, you're in the loop. So I think the biggest thing, at least today, is that Justin Timberlake got arrested.
Which is like, rich people do this all the time. Rich people get their DUIs all the time. And it's the same argument every time. If anybody could afford an Uber, it is you.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why even risk it, especially when you have a lot to lose? Like, he's been going through it in terms of like bad press for like the longest, and this is just the icing on the cake because it's like, why? I mean, the latest is that he's saying that he only had a glass of martini. They're not going to arrest you for that, sir. But he refused to take a breathalyzer test. So, yeah.
I've also started to realize, or maybe it's just a conclusion that I drew. I think the DUI is usually like the last part of your issues with drinking. Like, I
Mm.
feel like you have a serious drinking issue for probably some time, and then it manifests through the first DUI that we hear about, if that makes sense. At this point, when someone gets a DUI, I am truly convinced that they must have a problem with alcohol.
Yeah, and I mean, I just finished Whoopi Goldberg's memoir, and she was just saying how, honestly, drugs and cocaine and stuff, it's like vitamins. It's not even like a that's why it's hard for them to even realize that they have a problem because everyone around them is doing it. So it's like, why not? But I think the problem is when you start endangering other people, because the thing with a DUI is you're not just endangering yourself. You could hurt somebody. And think about it. For a cop to recognize that you're under the influence and pull you over, you must be really being reckless. It's not like they know, oh, you drank, you're driving. You must have been doing or driving recklessly to be pulled over. So it's really, really dangerous. But I
It's not
wonder,
funny at all. But
no.
reports say that the cop who pulled him over was too young to know that this is Justin Timberlake.
I
which,
mean, but,
which is, yeah,
but,
funny.
no, but honestly, can you tell who it is before you pull them over?
As in, after he pulled him over, treated him hopefully like he would treat anybody else, he then found out later, oh, I arrested someone famous. Like, he did not recognize him.
Yeah.
But back
Well,
to your point, yes, DUIs are not funny because you can kill somebody. You can kill multiple people, and there are many people walking around in the world who have had a family member or a friend or a loved one killed by a drunk driver. It's not funny. Um, but yes, in terms of like, yeah, you had to be driving badly for them to even pull you over. Yeah. So, I mean, it's almost like I'm glad they got you off the road before you killed somebody.
yeah. I do wonder what is going on. Like I said, he has been having some bad press. His last album didn't sell so well. I mean, I'm gonna confess, I'm a Justin Timberlake girly. I mean, I like his music. I know he's done all the things to Janet Jackson and all that, but to me, it's like that doesn't separate that doesn't negate the fact that we got the 2020 experience. That is an album for that's a classic to me. But there have always been rumors about him cheating on Jessica Biel. Like that has just always been going around. And then the head of it was when whatever movie, I forget the actress's name, where the pictures came out of him holding her hands out in public and all that. It doesn't matter how friendly you are, it just seemed like an intimate picture. So she still chose to stay with him. So she recently cut her hair.
Yes, I
And when
saw
she
that.
cut her hair, I saw somebody say, "Oh, she's leaving for real this time." Again, there's no word of her leaving or anything, but I just wonder if stuff is going on behind the scenes. And like you said, this is just one of the things that's bringing it to a head, or one of the symptoms of whatever is going on with him. But I don't know. I don't feel bad because it's like, if anything, if you have a problem, go take care of it now. They have two young sons, so go take care of that.
I thought the headlines were interesting because you can tell Justin Timberlake has really fallen out of favor. I think it was two things kind of happened at the same time or within short months of each other. There was Janet Jackson's documentary where she talked about how he threw her under the bus. He suffered no consequences and he did not defend her at all with the Super Bowl thing. And then there was Britney Spears' book, which I did not read, but I know Tane did. And the headlines about him then were not really great either. So then when this
Yeah.
happened, the reaction has been very much like, haha, something bad happened to someone I don't like, which is mean, but it's just an interesting thing about how things are covered in certain ways. I think some of
I
the people
was
I follow are of the Schadenfreude variety. I don't know if the mainstream's like that.
I was about to sing one of his songs where it's like, what goes around comes back around. That's what a lot of people are thinking. So I mean, for the sake of his family, I don't wish him bad, but I mean, I hope he cleans himself up, at least for his kids. Let's step into the reality world of one Miss Kenya Moore.
I'm a sucker because I read the headlines. She came out. So the headlines, for those who do not know, they are filming, Real Housewives of Atlanta the next season. Um, Things were not good last season. I don't think the show is in a great place. And I smell a hint of desperation in creating a storyline. There's a new cast member. Do not ask me this person's name. I don't know. Kenya had her Kenya Moore hair care event. Let us note that last season there was a Kenya Moore hair salon event that was left on the cutting room floor. So sources say that Kenya was highly invested in making sure that whatever happened at her party actually made it to the show so she could promote her business. I'll let Tane take it from here.
Okay, and then whatever the event was, kind of like if you watched it with Marlo, when Marlo had an event and Kenya showed up with a marching band, Kenya Moore hair care. Kenya decided that that is not enough. We are not doing a marching band to embarrass somebody. Instead, she had a blow up picture of the new cast member allegedly giving fellatio to someone. And I honestly, I can't say that I didn't believe it because it is Kenya. Marlo made us forget, but it is Kenya.
It is Kenya. I am I was ignorant. I was like, maybe it's Kenya came out and said it's I did not do any revenge porn. I didn't do it. It's lies. It's lies. I was like, well, she's saying it's lies. Maybe it's lies. Next thing we hear, Bravo has suspended Kenya from filming while they conduct an investigation. And then it sounded like the investigation was pretty quick because now she's indefinitely suspended. Something like don't quote me on that sequence of events, but it sounds like she is no longer filming Real Housewives of Atlanta. And the only reason for that would be if she actually did what they accused her of.
Exactly. I mean, from the moment it happened, I believed it. She did come out that same day. She's like, she's gonna do a live. She's gonna talk about it. I did join the live, but I left after a few because she was wasting time. She was like, "We're gonna do it when it reaches." how many K people? Oh, we'll do it when it reaches how many. Then she kept talking about the spa and give a tour or something like that. And I'm like, this woman is not serious. Like, this doesn't make any sense. She's getting publicity before for her spa, but she never really addressed it. But then audio came out from the event of people talking. And it's not either way. We just live in a world where if you hear like a slight rumor, it might not be the exact fact, but there's some truth to it. And for something like that that was public, how are you going to deny that? Like for real. So, like I said, Marlo, because she's so terrible, we kept thinking it made us like Kenya a little better. But if you go back and you keep remembering, Kenya has always been the villain, but she's kind of villain that you love to hate. But she just reminds you, like, now you've gone too far. She has a fan base. People like Kenya. Why do you need to do all of this to make a name for yourself? Now you've given it all away, and for what?
It also reveals one of my greatest annoyances with watching Housewives, which is that I just want people to film the show and shut up, and then we can watch the show and see what happened. Like, I don't want to hear about what happened before it airs. This is ruining the
Yeah.
Bravo Housewives watching experience.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the name of the housewives is Brittany, by the way, Brittany Edie or Eddie. I don't know how to pronounce it. But that is so true. It's way too much now. Like, where is the suspense? Where is the surprise? Where's the mystery? We know everything. We know where they're traveling to. We know where they sit on the plane. We know all the stuff. And it's like, I don't want to know. I want to be surprised. We don't want to know the storyline. But even more scary is this is supposed to be a make or break season for Atlanta. And I'm like, if Kenya's not there, are we leaving this in the hands of Portia? Like,
I
I
think there
like
are worse
Portia, but
hands.
no, I like Portia, but Portia needs good supporting people around her. Like, you know, let's be for real. She needs good supporting people, and it's like, where do we go? And this has to interrupt whatever storyline, because I've listened to a podcast with some producers, and they said in the start of the season they ask everybody what's going on, what's going this, and then they lay out a plan of how the season is going to go. So now if Kenya is not filming anymore, like, that changes everything, so you kind of have to retool the whole thing. And I'm like, does it still work without Kenya? And then even if they find out she's guilty and she doesn't come back or whatever, do they still air the parts that they filmed?
I mean, they have to. They will have to air this, or they will have to address it in some form or fashion.
Well, I mean, if Kenya gets mad and says, I got fired, I'm going to sue you for and do whatever, they can't show that, you know? So it's a very sticky situation.
Or if Brittany says no, you can't show this. This is like
Oh,
too bad for me. Yeah.
no, I don't mean the scene. The scene, I don't think, actually don't think that should show the light of day. I just mean everything they filmed up until then with Kenya.
That's why I say you have to address it, because you show everything you filmed with Kenya, and then you say, like, I feel like they've done this in previous. I'm trying to think of someone
No,
who's been fired mid-season.
sorry. Sorry, what I'm saying is, are they even going to show everything they filmed with Kenya? Is
I
what I'm saying.
I
If
understand what
she
you're saying.
sues, oh,
I'm just trying to think of a precedent. I feel like I'm actually trusting Bravo. Their contracts are fine. They can show Kenya. Kenya's probably going to want them to show Kenya. She can't sue them and say you can't show me because you fired me.
well, if you sue and you're in litigation with the people, much like how they say you can't talk about it, you can't show whatever, kind of like a cease and desist.
I don't.
Why?
If I was Bravo, I would take the hit, be like, we'll defend in court and we will show this because it's good TV.
Okay. That's what I'm worried about is like, what are they going to do with all that? But I don't know. She went too far. It was unnecessary. Portia is still behind the scenes going through her back and forth with her ex husband, and that's a mess too. I don't even know if he's back in the country.
He left?
He was in Dubai for the longest time,
Hmm.
so I don't know what's going on. Um, with that. But it's so funny because someone played showed a old Watch What Happens live video of
You know what I don't miss at all? That vicious week before a period. The cravings, the irritability, and just generally feeling off. Now it's easier to manage PMS with estro control. Happy Mammoth, the company that created Hormone Harmony, is dedicated to making women's lives easier. And that means using only science backed ingredients that have been proven to work for women. They make no compromise when it comes to quality, and it shows.
Hormone Harmony contains science backed herbal extracts called adaptogens. Now, here's the beauty about adaptogens they help the body adapt to any stressors, like chaotic hormonal changes that happen naturally throughout a woman's life. For a limited time, you can get 15% off on your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use the code AltacallMAFS at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use the code AltAcall MAFS for 15% off today. Tessa and Quad on there, and Andy's asking them, "Oh, what do you think about the engagement?" And Quad is like, "Oh, it's so great, it's so good." And Contessa is like, "What? You're down with that? No, 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 no. That's dirty. That's not right." And Quad is like, "They weren't friends." And she's like, "It doesn't matter. Let's forget all that. They just got engaged for a month. They don't know each other. You don't even know how they get when they're mad." And Quad is like, "No, I know them separately. They're great people. They're gonna last. They don't know." And I'm like, "Ooh, that did not age well." Ah.
I'm
But
trying
speaking
to
of,
imagine, because I'm usually an optimist, and I remember being like, this Portia and Simon business, I wish them well, it's not going to last. Lo and behold,
no,
it didn't last.
no. I mean, the fact that Quad said, "I know them individually," because you know Portia, that alone is enough reason why you know this is not going to work. Like, come on. Like, Portia is so beautiful, but she's just as dumb as she's beautiful to me. Because my friend always argues that she's really smart. So I'm like,
She's not.
okay. I don't see what you see, but okay. But speaking of Quad, Quad did debut a new man, and I think she's back filming with Married to Medicine after they ousted her last season.
I saw pictures. Do we know anything about this man? Do we know his name? Do we know his profession? Do we know anything?
Um, I'm sure it's out there, but much like how we just complained, like knowing about stuff or whatever, I actually didn't go deep diving. I'm like, if he's gonna premiere on Married to Medicine, I'll just wait and be introduced to him there.
Good plan.
So yeah. Speaking of Bravo, we just had the Summer House reunion in two parts. Um, we had two new characters this season, and we had one that the world fell in love with, West, and he and Sierra had like this budding thing, and then we found out who he really was. I don't know. His reason was different. Like he was gonna be in a world where there was a lot of female fans and all that kind of stuff. That was that. And then we had the whole Carl and Lindsay thing that they turned off their wedding. And what I really want to talk about is how I always defend Andy because a lot of people criticize Andy. They're like, Andy doesn't ask the questions, Andy doesn't do this, and I'm like, he's doing the best he can. He da 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 da. But this was the first time in a reunion where I felt like Andy really didn't ask the questions and go deep. He kind of moved on, and he was biased against Lindsay. A lot of people have been calling him a misogynist. I don't know if I want to put that label on there, but it definitely was not in her favor.
Which is interesting because I felt like the whole internet wasn't in her favor. So I think I saw some of this chatter and I was confused because I feel like Lindsay has been knocked around quite a bit. Mind you, I do not watch the show. I do not know what Lindsay looks like. This is just the
Yeah.
chatter that I hear.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Lindsay is not like the most I don't want to say likable, unlikable, but she's not a warm and fuzzy kind of person. She says it like it is. And that was my diagnosis at the end of it. My summary is that Lindsay moves like a man. And I don't think people know what to do with that. She doesn't like cry over things. She's just like, if something doesn't serve her, she's done. Like, there's a part where Andy is like, "Do you miss the friendship?" And she's like, "I did, but not anymore." But they're expecting her to be like, I do. We were friends first or whatever. And she just moves on. And she moves on quickly. She's already dating. She's allegedly pregnant. We don't know if that's true or not. And I just felt like he kept creating passes. And then forget about Carl and Lindsay. We could talk about Amanda and Kyle. Like on the episode, Kyle called his wife a bitch. I don't think we really even went into that. Like, why would you call a wife a bitch? Your wife said that she was lonely. Your wife felt like she wasn't getting the support and she wanted to find herself. And you raged at her and you threw stuff or whatever. And you didn't even go half as hard as you did on Lindsay. And it was just really unsatisfying um, to watch that. But that was just my little venting. But I'll segue with Lindsay being allegedly pregnant into the Trader season 3 casting because allegedly Lindsay was cast, but then Dorinda allegedly sold out that she was pregnant, and then she was not cast, and then that's how Sierra got the casting on the Traders.
Is it wrong that I'm like, all I know about Sierra is that she's black, so I'm like, good for her?
No, I mean, no, it's not wrong. I hope she can take it. I wish she had a support system because there's nobody else on her show. There's just a lot of housewives, it seems,
Did
that
they
we have
add?
on there.
There are a lot of housewives. I haven't done like a full breakdown, but it seems like there are more housewives than there were last season.
I believe so. So we have Dorinda,
Chanel Ayan, Dolores.
Robin.
I don't know why. Robin is gonna be like Sheree.
Yes, absolutely. Dolores. Okay, you said that already. Yeah, so I think that's it. That's four. How many
That's
did we have last season?
I think we had more than that. I think there's a lot of Bravo people though. Because you have like Tom Sandoval. I bet you he got paid 4 times as much as everybody else. Brittany's ex-husband. This is interesting. Boston Rob, I'm excited about that. I'm excited about that because I actually watched that season of Big Brother.
Which season? He's been on 3 times.
His
I'm just
first
kidding.
season. First season.
Okay, not the one where he won or was that the one he met his wife on there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Amber. That's her name, right?
Yes, 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 yes. Um, no, that's all the Bravo people we have. I'm trying to think of how many we had last time. We had Sheree, we had Phaedra, we had Tamara, we had
Danielle? I'm sorry, I'm just seeing the list and I'm like so excited that Danielle is on because she was also on a season of Big Brother that I actually watched.
okay.
I got excited. Continue.
I lost my train of the people. Okay, I'll start over. Phaedra, Sheree, Tamara. Who was the other Bravo people we had in there?
Mercedes.
MJ.
Oh,
So that's four.
that was it? There would always be like the Bravo people, the Bravo people. It made them seem like much more than they were. But there really isn't much more this season than, yeah.
Yeah, so I think they're keeping to like a prototype because now they have the Big Brother. It's interesting that they keep getting the Big Brothers and the Survivors when that's a CBS show. So that's very interesting to me. Like they're a Peacock show and they didn't bring any Love Island person. I would think that they would want to mine from their little family, but there seems to be more. Actually, let me see the Big Brother and Survivor people because they tend to band together. So we have Brittany, we have Danielle, we have Caroline Weiger, sorry. And then we have Boston Rob, we have Jeremy Collins, who I'm so excited about. So that's five already. And then Brittany, that's six already. So I don't know. I just really find it interesting that they would help another network kind of give them publicity.
I think it's the other way around. They're not helping another network. The other network is bringing them people who might not. Like, I think those people are a draw, or at least that's how they intend for this to work.
No, no, no. I know for the season, but I just mean like afterwards. Like last year, I don't know what the ratings were or anything. I don't know if that created a draw or an increase for like the challenge. Because like I remember I tweeted something and a friend of mine was like, "Oh, is our guy there?" She didn't know who CT was before Traders, but now that's publicity. I guess I'm thinking afterwards, not just after the season. People who otherwise might not know them might follow them with whatever show they came from to follow up with them.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, but I think it's a good cast. I didn't feel myself get so excited as I did for season 2 though, but I think they do have a good cast.
Ultimately, I mean, it's there's people, but I think the format is actually what makes the show. So, I'm good. I'm good.
I don't know why they got Chanel I am. I
She's gonna be
just
terrible.
yeah, I like her, but not here. Like I'm not even saying this in a bad way. Like English is her second language. Even with her castmates, she never quite understands what they're trying to say, and she gets so defensive. And it's just gonna be, they have activities that they have to do. She's gonna be overdressed, and now I don't know. It just seems like a bad match. Her and Robin are my only gripes because Robin is going to be so loud and so wrong.
Uh, and
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, but again, one of those shows, regardless of when it comes out, we are watching.
They also have another random British man, but this one is like basically related to the royal family.
Yeah, the
Distant
Mountbatten
cousin.
guy.
Ivar
Yeah,
Mountbatten, which brings us to the other big news, depending on who you are of the week, which is that Kate Middleton, Princess of Wales, is alive. Um,
yeah, and it's real. It's not a Photoshop picture. It's actually her, and I mean, good to know. The whole thing is still weird to me. I don't, you know,
I, I look at it like I just felt people got a little, and I mean, not everybody, but people were just talking all kinds of nonsense. And basically, once they told the truth, it was like, it made more sense. Like,
did
oh,
it?
I'm sick, I have cancer, and I really didn't want to tell y'all, but okay, I guess I have to.
I feel like I can't say much in this because I am the people you're referring to, and I'm not 100%. There is still something really off about the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, I
I
hear the story, but it's off. I just something is still afoot. We don't know what it is. So, and unfortunately, when people did, nobody owes us anything. I get it, but I'm just saying, like, just moving with people who live in the world and hear the news. If we had to dive into it, like, yes, they're telling us stuff, but it's still off.
I think I'm really open to speculation about the state of her marriage because I think that's part of the offness. I don't know if that man is cheating or not. I don't know why, if he is cheating, they are keeping the potential cheater's family very close in a public way. It's all very odd. But I think that family's a bunch of weirdos at heart. Yeah.
Yeah, because the whole thing is like, I understand, like, going through. I don't. They get to keep the privacy, yes, but it was just the whole lies and deceit and photoshopping and messaging and buddy doubles. Well, I still don't think that was Kate at the market where they were cited or anything. If she wants to stay home and get well and get better in private, so be it. But don't go through all of the things. And the thing is, I'm not gonna lie, this last video where we saw her at the trooping thing, she looked fantastic.
She looked, and I have read a lot of things this week about speculating on how people who are sick look, and like I, what I was about to say is she looked fine. Like she looked no different than any time before, but everything that I've read is basically like, look, it just different people react in different ways to everything, and you can't judge how well or sick someone is by how they look. So I'm just gonna stick with that.
Yes, when I say she looks fantastic, I mean like her face looks refreshed. She looks like when a housewife takes some time and comes back and be like, oh, something looks different, but I'm not quite sure what. That's what I mean by she looks fantastic. I agree with the fact that everybody reacts differently to anything, but her face actually looks like she looked a little younger and she looked refreshed in the face to
Hmm.
me. So I'm just glad that she's okay and everything's okay. I hope they sort out if anything's going on with their marriage. I hope she gets better. And I just think like, and what I mean is like, again, everyone can handle it differently. But they were telling us like, we can't see her, she can't do X, Y, Z or whatever. But like, the king is out and about and, functioning, moving, and doing all of the things. And to our knowledge, it wasn't that she necessarily had like cancer, they just found traces of it. So it's preventative treatment, not like full blown, like, stages of cancer. So it's just like the bits and pieces and the stuff just being all around. That's what I find weird. It's like there's really no need for that.
From what I have read, they're like, the general medical community is like, there's no such thing as preventative chemotherapy. In the sense that cancer was found and you're trying to stop it from growing by doing the chemotherapy. But like, what are you preventing? The cancer is always already there. There's no such thing as preventative chemotherapy. I think they just said that to minimize, which is once again fine. But yeah, I think she has cancer. And truth be told, I think the difference between her and Charles is like Charles waited his whole life to do this job. And he's like, I don't care if I'm sick. I'm doing as much as I can because Lord knows how much time I have. Kate is like, I'm in this for the long haul. I'm sick. Leave me alone. And I respect her for that.
Yeah. What else is there to talk about?
Well, we can't talk about Kate without talking about the other. We have not discussed at all on our podcast or anything Meghan and Harry going to Nigeria. Did you
Oh,
have a single thought about that event?
good for her. I mean, I'm just glad that she was happy and she got treated like. I mean, if we haven't mentioned it before, guys, like Nigerian mothers have an affinity, feel like Princess Diana is their kindred spirit. Like, I know the world loves her, but a lot of like Nigerian mothers like love Princess Diana. Like, she's their close personal friend. So him coming, it feels like, oh, our son is coming home. And Megan doing her ancestry or DNA and finding out that she's how many percent Nigerian or whatever. It was just fun. So for me, I'm just glad that they were in a place where they felt welcomed and they had like a good party.
Yeah, yeah. And about see, this is a thing I have to learn from Tane. I understood that the Nigerian mothers in England loved Diana. I didn't know the Nigerian mothers in Nigeria also loved Diana.
Oh, they did. They saw they saw themselves in her, like the long suffering wife.
They really.
Who's just
I mean,
but yeah, they really did.
I'm gonna
I
rag
still
on my
remember.
own mother here. My mother has like a plate collection of like all the places in the world that she has been, beautiful plates. She also has a Harry and Meghan plate. No, there's no Catherine and Will plate. There's not even a Diana plate, but there is a Harry and Meghan plate. And I'll just leave that there.
Everybody has their thing. That's cute. um, I don't know if this is a good segue, but I was just thinking the other day. I still watch the Kardashians when they moved to Hulu, and I'm beginning to think that the Kardashian reign might be over. But the question is it because people are absolutely sick of them, or is this intentional and we're about to get like a new wave of Kardashian news? Because I just feel like there's nothing else to talk about. She was recently allegedly in a relationship with Odell Beckham Jr., and that was not on the show. That was not made public or anything. They're keeping things to themselves now. There's absolutely no storyline really on the show. There's nothing to talk about. It's just day to day things, and it's kind of like, are we nearing the end of them?
I used to watch the Kardashians when they were on E, and I very much like, oh, let me turn on my TV. Oh, the Kardashians are on. Oh, let me watch it. Since they moved to Hulu, I mean, I'm not going to intentionally go find them. Um,
Mm.
I thought, and you can explain further, I thought the move to Hulu was so they could control more of their own story, which I didn't really understand because I'm sure they were controlling everything on E2. Is the control leading to the death?
It might. I will say this though. That control, when you watch it, it feels like a PR response to like something that's happened, and then we get to see it from their point of view. And then they get to explain this is what happened, this is why we did this, and XYZ. But I think they think that they're being subtle about it. Like when you want to take a picture and like act natural and you stare up to the ceiling. That's what it feels like. Like the next week's episode or this week's episode is going to be Kylie like crying about her body and saying that she's been scrutinized since she was 13. You can't do this. And I want to have empathy, but please, you can't lie about the things that you do, like we're blind, and insult our intelligence. And then you come on TV to garner some empathy. I don't, it just doesn't ring true. The last episode was Chloe's best friend, Malika, talking about she wants another baby, and they go to the sperm bank. And by the end of the episode, she's like, yeah, the sperm bank is not for me. Duh. We knew that. There was just no story, and you had to write it out. So it just rings disingenuous. The most truthful thing will probably be Courtney and her husband, but he's rarely around. And every time they're around, all she wants to tell us is how much sex they're having. So we heard it the first 500 times. So there's really nothing. I mean, that's not to say that Kim Kardashian still doesn't wield any power, because there's nothing that woman does that doesn't sell out. I even watched her TV show, The American Horror Story, that she did with Emma Roberts, and she wasn't bad at all. I'm not even gonna lie. And but her Skims is still selling out, and she's always on point with the marketing. She just got Nicola from Bridgerton to do one, which I absolutely loved. So she's always on trend with her marketing thing. So in that regard, I think, you know, she still has it. But in terms of the TV show, in terms of like the Kardashians and their headlines, I don't know. I think it's kind of dwindling. And maybe they should just give it a rest.
I mean, it depends on what you're selling, right? I'm like, if you're selling enough Skims that you don't need to sell yourself and your story anymore, I don't know why you would continue to do that.
I think to stay relevant. She doesn't need it anymore because part of her major storyline is how much she works. She's always working on a million things. She doesn't get any rest. She's still trying to take her bar exam next year, I think it is. And then she's trying to be an actress, and then she has the Skims, and then she's a fashion designer. Like there's just a lot that's going on. But it's kind of like the Housewives. It gives you a certain recognition or relevance, and every now and then, like every time they have an episode, there's a headline that comes out based on something someone said on the show. Like
Okay.
one time Chloe said, "Oh, when I was bigger, I had a camel toe and now I don't." And then it becomes a headline. So it's just for those little bits and pieces. And I think Kim is going to be one of those people who is not going to do well with not being relevant.
Hmm.
So good luck to them on that. Let's talk about JLo.
I, look, I didn't watch the documentary, so I didn't. I just felt like all of a sudden we hated J Lo, and I wasn't really sure why. I saw that her concerts aren't selling, so she had to cancel her tour, which was sad. I saw J Lo in Vegas a few years ago. It was wonderful. Next, I see her and Ben are on the rocks, and no subsequent divorce announcements. So I guess they're okay. So Tane, what is going on?
Who knows? That's the question. Who knows what is going on? Every once in the blue moon, the earth rotates and everyone decides, we hate this person. Anne Hathaway went through it. Nobody can tell you till today
Tell me
what
when
the
a man
problem with
went through it.
Anne.
Tell me that, Tane.
Justin Timberlake?
No, there were reasons to hate him.
That's true. That's true. So, anyways, apparently we're supposed to hate JLo now, and it's partly her fault. I know I'm on the wrong side of history. I'm a JLo girly. I watched the documentary. I watched the music video. Yes, this was purely ego driven. She did not need to do it. No one is interested in her content. Like, be like Jessica Alba. Took a break, went to Honest, like, oh, my acting isn't really doing what it should be doing. No one cares about your music anymore, JLo. Stick to the acting. You still got people in some way. But that is someone else that is not dealing well with not being relevant. And she has to get used to that, and she's doing anything she can to stay relevant. So the documentary was absolutely a vanity project. She did not need to do it. She used her own money until she sold it to Amazon. And it was pointless, really. But I enjoyed it. But based on the documentary, I thought Ben Affleck was like besotted with her. Like he was there through everything, helping her write scripts, encouraging her to do all the stuff. So with these rumors, I don't know what is going on. I don't know what is true. They're saying they're separated. I do think it is true that there's trouble because through the whole what's her movie that just came out, Atlas, he wasn't at any of it. The story is that he's filming The Accountant too, but I don't know what's going on.
It's just maybe it's on us because I'm the one who feels like I've been following J Lo and Ben Affleck's love life for all the years, and I just want to tell these people that I'm tired, and I just want them to stay together. I just can't have you dating out there in the world again. Just stick with each other.
Well, I mean, I think I feel bad for J Lo. Like, I feel like Ben Affleck would be okay, but for J Lo, she has been chasing love since like forever. Like, I can't imagine how it feels to now be in your 50s and you're still trying to find this. Like, it's exhausting. And she says it in the documentary, like, she loves love and she's not going to be ashamed of it. That's just who she is. And I just really want it to work. But it's not worth it to stay if you're unhappy. So,
Talking
I
of
feel bad for
which,
her.
the segues are great in this episode, guys. The Doricos have also decided that they're not happy together.
Um, yeah, what a yeah, listen, guys. I only watched like one season of that show and I couldn't do it because it just kind of gave me the ick. It was just kind of weird and creepy because for one, she keeps saying that her multiples are natural, and maybe it is. What is it? It's 14 kids, right? And then maybe it is, but how is that possible to have multiples and multiples and multiples? Some of them have like health issues. We're wondering on how to take care of the kids, and you just keep having it. You put your health in danger, and you keep doing that. It's kind of weird to me.
It's very, very weird. I watched one season of that show, and for those who don't know, what is it called? Keeping Up with the Doricos? What's it called? What's the name of the show?
Um, it's a D. Something with the Doritos. Doubling down with the Doritos or something?
It's a couple. They have a lot of children.
Yes, doubling down with the Doritos.
That's all there is. There's a couple with a lot of children. But she said some things in that first season about just loving to be pregnant and stuff like that, which I totally understand that's true for many people. But it felt like she really liked babies and she didn't actually, she was kind of obsessed with babies in a way that I think is detrimental to, children,
Yeah,
what they grow up
yeah,
to be.
yeah,
So that's why I couldn't watch anymore. But I could never imagine them getting divorced because I was like, there's too many children. There's too many
yeah.
children.
And I've said this before. I don't know if there's a word for it or an English name for it, but I've seen that with celebrities that want to just keep having children. And to your point, it is that maybe they love being pregnant, but not necessarily the afterwards. Because I would say Hilaria Baldwin is the same way. She literally had like six children in succession for like a 61-year-old man or however old he is. And it's just enjoying being pregnant and having it. Again, you can have as many kids as you want, but when it gets to the point where you're putting yourself in danger, because James Van Der Beek's wife is the same way. I think she even had a miscarriage and she had that. I was like, why are you still? And they have, I want to say, six children. Why do you want to keep putting yourself in danger just because you've told yourself that you need to have this many kids? So I don't know. The other part of it, again, allegedly, because it's just the internet, who knows what it is. The internet has not has been saying, but back then, even when I watched, we're saying like there's a possibility that the dad is gay, and it has been like through medical intervention that they've had the multiples because they do have an uncle. Do you remember the uncle who takes care of the kids?
Yes.
And everyone thinks that's allegedly his lover. And I was just like, you guys don't like you just have a man just there with all the kids and even the mom. His mom was like, "What are you doing? Like, Why are you having more kids? I know she had cancer. I hope she's okay. I stopped watching the show, so I don't know if she ever recovered from it. But it's funny because on Twitter, everyone's like, I'm not divorcing you. Who's going to take care of 14 children by themselves on the days that I have the kids? So that's funny.
I'm just like, you have too much work to do to even be bothered with being annoyed with each other. Like,
Yeah.
you don't even have to talk that much. Just communicate enough to take care of all these children.
Yeah. Speaking of children, I feel like a lot of people in the world have been children about the WNBA lately.
uh, I mean, it's the WNBA. It's the we had to, go through the championship. I, I don't know what my algorithms are set at. I have watched exactly one basketball game in the past 12 months. It was the championship game. I was rooting for South Carolina and then they won, so that was great. And so now I just see all the WNBA news. It's it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
Everything about it is unfortunate. Like the narrative, I mean, it all goes back to what the media is now. Like you can't trust the media's language, and that's sad. Like anything happens, like even when South Carolina won, the narrative was still around Caitlin Clark. It wasn't even about, the people that actually won. Like everything cannot be centered around one person. Now the argument is that she's bringing seats, or she's bringing ticket sales, and she's bringing publicity to the WNBA. But this is why I liked the press conference that Angel Reese did, because she's not the only one. One person cannot carry the entire WNBA. You can recognize her efforts, but you can also recognize the other people. And it is true. Everything started with the rivalry that started. And then between the both of them, only one person won a championship in college. It's such a weird thing. And then the file that happened recently where she, filed and all that, there are other videos of other people getting filed, getting hit, bleeding from their nose and all that. And the way the headlines are going, it's just like, what are we doing, guys? Like, it's a regular thing. And then even for Caitlyn, it must be even stressful. She doesn't get to enjoy her first year of professional basketball because like all everything is on her shoulders to say the right thing and give the right answers. And I'm sure she's like, I just want to play ball. Y'all leave me alone.
I don't. First off, I don't think she's done pretty well, but she's not equipped. I don't think anybody can be. There was a big brouhaha because she was left off the Olympic team. I I appreciated all the voices who were like, Arika Ogunbowale is the one who was really screwed over and left off the team. If someone had caused a complaint, it's not Caitlin Clark. And Caitlin herself was like, "I'm tired." Like the way the NCAA season and the WNBA works is kind of brutal on players.
Yeah.
Because there's no break. She's like, I think I'm gonna go home and take a break. No, and I'm like, no one was crying about Angel Reese not making the Olympics. I know people who are more informed will be like, that was never a possibility, but um, it's just, yeah. I mean, for me, what brought me to even paying a little bit of attention to watching that championship game was when Angel taunted Caitlyn. It was so funny, and then she won.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
my goal is to go see a game. My city does not have a team, so that will be a little bit difficult, but that is my goal this season at least, is to go see one game, preferably with Camila Cardosa or Angel Reese. I will take either one.
They came into town. I didn't get to go. Came to Capital One. But yeah, I mean, I think we've covered most of it. I have like a really off kilter topic. I don't know if that's actually more like a niche topic. There are these two content creators, Tyler and Gabby, who are both tall. He's like 6'8" and she's like 6'1". And his whole thing is he interviews tall people on the street and all that. So he interviewed her in Miami. And they're both really, really attractive people. I'm not on TikTok, so I'd never heard of him before. I'd never seen his interviews. But then we followed, and then she was like, "How tall are you?" Then he was like, it somehow led to like a coffee date, and then they went to a coffee date, and that went really well. Then he lives in South Carolina, and he wanted her to come over. She's currently there. He bought her a ticket. He sent her like a care package. So basically, they've been documenting every step of their quote unquote relationship. So on one hand, it really is the cutest thing. On the other hand, it's like, are we being played? Like, is this for content? Because UPS sponsored something with the care package that he sent, and then she went on one of her things at a sports center, got him some shoes. He wears size 16 shoes or whatever, and she got him shoes because it's hard for him to find his size and all the things. So I don't know if we're being played, but I feel like I'm okay if we're being played if they still end up together because it really is cute, the whole story that's going on. But they're giving us snippets, and I really hope they're saving some things for themselves.
It sounds like really super produced.
Yeah, but what isn't in this world these days?
I can't. Well, it's funny because I have a cousin who's really she's I say really tall. She is 6'1". No, she doesn't play basketball. And I'm like, how do I get her on this on his little interview show?
Oh, he's usually just walking around the street. It's like random. It's like what's that guy? Whatever on the street.
Humans of New York.
No, well, something like that. Yeah, cute meets NYC or whatever. But Billy on the street was what I was thinking about. But yes, you're right. That makes more sense and is more relevant.
That's
You
what
just walk around and randomly meet people and then have that conversation. So
I'm
yeah.
like, who is Billy on the street?
Oh, he's a Billy Eichner. He's an actor. He's a
Oh,
comedian.
I
He's
don't
really
know
funny.
anything about it.
My last thing that I want to contribute is if you're not watching Love Island USA, you should. This does not apply to Aid. This is a lot of episodes for her. But if you were thinking about maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't, I think that you should because we do have a 6'8" man that's on there who thinks that being 6'8" is a personality and he doesn't have to do anything else. Just show up and be 6'8".
I bet
But
you though, up until now, that's worked.
it has, but you know, he should do better. But my main point is Ariana is now the new host from Vanderpump Rules, and Ariana is killing it. Absolutely, like all the outfits that she's been given as a host, she embodies all the presence that the host should have. I apologize for Sarah Hyland, but it just wasn't a good fit. But it's great. It works for me, and it's even better to me than the current Love Island UK that's going on right now.
Hmm. I'm glad Ariana's having a good time. I hope she's making lots of money.
Yes, I hope so too.
So my last thing is House of the Dragon, which I saw some meme the last time the show was on about how black people never say the, and it sure is true because every time I'm like House of Dragon.
Wait, there's a the?
Yes, there's a
Honestly,
the.
I don't even know if I knew that.
It's only been one episode, and part of me is like, I should go back and watch the first season because it is a little. I'm like, it's a little confusing. I mean, for the most part, I understand the story. The only part I got hung up on is apparently there's a like Allison's two of her kids are married to each other and they have kids. I don't know if that was made clear last season and I didn't see it or what. But
Ma'am,
I also feel like I can enjoy House of the Dragon more because I never read these books. And I know that the story exists out there in some form. I mean, I read Game of Thrones, but I this is like some prequel that I don't know if it's a collection of stories, but somehow people know the story from some sort of written work. And those of us who don't know the story are just going along, and it's much more fun that way. In fact, yeah, I'm like watching a show where you did not read the book is more fun than if you did.
I get it, but I will say though, I do get it's the word irritated because sometimes when you watch a show that is an adaptation, by default, it's always factions of those who read the book and those who didn't read the book. And it's kind of like there's nothing that can be done about it. It's like it's just you didn't read it, you're not gonna have the context, and then it's like people who read the book are always trying to point out like, well, this didn't happen, well, that didn't happen, it did this happen, but okay, that changes nothing. For at least for me. That's how I feel. It's like we can only deal with whatever it is that is being shown on screen. Like I think the best way to watch it is just like acting like you never even read the book at all. Because that's how I felt when I read Big Little Lies. Like I thought the book was overrated, but at least it's like there's really nothing we can do with what it is besides knowing who did it. But it's you can only base anything and everything based on how it is as a TV show. I think because because there's always going to be changes and it's just going to be confusing trying to remember what happened in the book, what didn't happen in the book, and not. For House of Dragon, I haven't. Well, House of the Dragon, I didn't watch the premiere yet, but I went and just rewatched the finale of last season.
That was a good choice. So you guys, we did Bridgerton on our Patreon this week, which we forgot to tell you at the top of the show, but reminder. But it's truly such a contrast because I have read the Bridgerton books and I have not read House of the Dragon, and I feel, yeah, it's easier to enjoy. It is easier to enjoy. I did read some of Game of Thrones, but I honestly cannot remember which order did I read first or did I watch first. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. So, Tane, any other topics you want to cover?
I'm sure there's a lot, but I think we covered a good ground. Um, for you guys, we have a community on our Patreon if you're on there where we just chat about different stuff. And we chatted, and I know someone mentioned they were watching the Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup, and I don't know if you're watching Aid. I'm not watching because every now and then I have to sit and make sure that Gypsy Rose did go to jail for killing her mom.
She did.
Because the welcome she has received from, our Patreon channel Lifetime, who hosts Maps, I'm always like, am I missing something? She's in every headline. We're talking about her new boyfriend, we're talking about her rhinoplasty, her everything, and I'm like, she killed someone. Yes, she had good reason, I guess, but if we all killed the people who caused us pain in life, we'd all be in jail.
Okay, well, to be clear, Gypsy Rose did not do the killing. She planned the killing. She helped with the killing. She probably gave instructions for the killing, but she did not actually do the killing. Not that that really makes a difference, but I watched too many documentaries about Gypsy Rose. I watched the before she came out of jail documentary. I could not bring myself to watch the after Love After Lockup or whatever it's called. Um, I knew for sure she was going to break up with that husband, so that was no shock to me. She barely married him. Her poor father was just like, why can't she just get out of jail and like live life a little before marrying this guy?
She was probably just stunted and just wanted to live her life to the
her,
fullest.
her reason was, well, I can't go live with him unless he's a family member because of the terms of my probation. So we got to get
Ah,
married. I,
ah,
I just, I, the whole internet celebrity, how she's basically going to make a living being an influencer is how it seems to me.
yeah.
Lifetime is willing to give her TV shows so she can extend her time in the sun, but the whole thing is weird. The whole thing is weird because of exactly what Tane said. She did go to jail for conspiring to kill her mother. Now,
Attempted murder? Is it attempted murder? Was that the
no, she ended up
charge?
doing like a second degree, like she pled out so that she would have less jail time. And truthfully, like after all her mother did to her, I'm not
Yeah.
that mad at her for it. Like, I, I don't think it was the right thing to do. Gypsy Rose says it wasn't the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But her mom really was evil, and what she did to her was really, really bad.
It was. I mean, I completely get it. I think it's just maybe it's not her. Maybe it's just the culture of
Mhm.
and listen, other people might feel the same way about oh, we support trashy reality shows and all that or whatever. So, there's levels to this stuff. It's just I can't physically bring myself to watch this woman based on the scenario of everything that happened. Because I keep thinking, does she have any like psychological after effects? Like, is she
Yes.
really okay?
Oh no,
And
she's not well adjusted. She's not well adjusted in any way, shape, or form. And I will also say, when people do talk about reality TV, our excuse is, well, they didn't kill anybody. And we don't have that with Gypsy
ah,
Rose. We don't have that with Gypsy Rose. I just, she is not the first like abused child to strike back at a parent. She's just the first one to get a TV show and be treated the way she's being treated. And it's
yeah.
gross. It is gross.
And I just want to point out, like, this is not any judgment by any chance for anyone who chooses to watch it. I think it was just more explaining why, for someone who's a reality TV show hoe, is not watching it. Just like why I couldn't like watch it, but
And full
it's not a judgment
disclosure, I am a little tempted to watch it. I just am holding out.
on what you should do it. Do it and share your thoughts.
Okay, I'll see. Because, I mean, enjoy is the wrong. She is really stunted. Let's just say that. She is really,
Okay.
really stunted from what I watched from before she got out. And whose fault is that, though? Her mom's. And also, I feel like her dad gets too much of a pass in some ways.
Mm.
Um,
Oh,
but
he's
yet,
alive.
yeah,
Okay.
it's like he hadn't seen her for like 7 years by the time she got arrested for killing her mom. But he and his wife like swooped in, found her, paid for a lawyer. Like they did everything for her. They did everything for her when she was in prison. Like they're trying to make up, I think, for what they know they did wrong. I say they,
Mhm.
his wife is not responsible. But yeah, she's like, "Oh, I went to jail and I felt so free because I'd been living under my mother's thumb for so long." I'm kind of interested in what her actual freedom looks like. But
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, anyway.
Yeah. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed us just chit chatting. Don't forget, let us know anything that you would like us to cover as we wait for the premiere date of Maths season 18 in Chicago.
You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at AltarCallMAFS. That's AltarCallMAFS. We love hearing from you guys about all your thoughts about what we talked about here. And also, if we do this again, what do you want us to talk about?
Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any new episodes. Please give us a 5-star rating if you're so inclined on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Until the next episode, we'll see you then. Bye, guys.
Bye.